Well, that's it, everybody. That is the season finale, episode 8, titled An Affair to Dismember. That is it. Chucky season 1 in the can. And they've already announced that Chucky season 2 has been greenlit, so at least we don't have to go with that speculation. Are we going to get the answers? Are we going to get to find out anything? What the hell? At least there's the solace knowing that next year we will get a follow-up. We will get the answers to the questions they left this season open with. But nonetheless, guys, episode 8, I gotta be honest, I'm a little lukewarm on it. I mean, I was almost debating on waiting to review it in the morning, but I know you guys typically want me to get these videos out as soon as possible. I've been doing them right after the episode the entire season, so I didn't want to change that for the finale. There was things in the finale that I enjoyed. I liked the whole... a lot of good Chucky stuff. That's the main thing. A lot of good Chucky stuff, a lot of good Chucky lines. I even think a lot of the effects on the doll, like namely the scene where he's crawling underneath all the theater seats and he's giving that like snarl and that laugh, like the facial animations that they got on that doll specifically in that scene, I thought was really good. And even whenever he was attacking Jake, something about that just kind of looked more like Child's Play 3 Chucky. If you're a hardcore Chucky fan, you know what I'm talking about. Like his angry face was a little bit more defined in that movie, and so that reminded me of that. You guys know I love that movie, so even if that was an unintentional detail, I appreciated that. I think that a lot of the interaction that Chucky has with all the characters, whether it be Tiffany, whether it be Jake, whether it be Junior, a lot of the lines that they gave him and just the back and forth and the dark humor was on point as always. That's kind of the strongest thing about this season, is that Chucky felt like he was kind of on top. He was really the star of the show, which he should be. The fucking show is called Chucky. And they leave it in some interesting places that I think could be an interesting place to follow up in season 2. They have the whole thing with the truck and the 72 dolls that are going God knows where now. From a writing standpoint, I would have assumed that all of the other characters, Jake and Devin and Lexi and all of them, would have just been season 1, especially the way that they leave them, where their story arcs are pretty much closed, but it was all but confirmed in the behind the scenes that Don Mancini wants to bring back the entire crew again if they got a season 2. So looks like they're going to be involved from here on out. It's not going to be like an American Horror Story thing where every single season's a new town, new set of characters. And to a certain degree, I don't know if that's the best approach. I can't really say that until we get season 2. I feel like they wrapped everything up with these characters. We got everything that we're going to get out of them. And so I think there would have actually been some benefit to having a brand new cast, brand new setting, brand new show to a certain extent, with Chucky being the only narrative through line. But that doesn't seem to be the direction they want to go, so I'm not sure. I'm not really sure where they're going to take those characters, but I am intrigued nonetheless. I'm a little on the fence about it, but very demented place to end the Nika storyline for season 1, where you've had the past couple of episodes to where Tiffany has been saying that she likes Nika better than Chucky, and of course Tiffany and Chucky are always kind of extreme hot to extreme cold, minute to minute. And so her solution was to keep Nika around almost like a good guy doll. And fucking cuts her arms off, cuts her legs off. It didn't work anyway. And she's now bound to a wheelchair with no way to get away, no way to do anything. And if Chucky does pop back in there, he can't really do shit either. So very fucked up place to leave that character. I think it's cool that it goes there. It's cool that it's that demented, and that's certainly something that Tiffany, as fucked up as a person as she is, would do to get her way. The only thing I'm a little on the fence about is that I feel like that really takes a lot of potential away from what Fiona Dourif can do, because now she can't even really get that animated with the Charles Lee Ray side of things. She's just going to be in a wheelchair for as long as she's in this show. So I don't know. Something about her being such a great heroic character in Curse, and eventually just losing by the end of Cult, but still being a good character, and now she's done. I mean, you might as well just shoot her in the head. She's done. I don't know if I like the way that they left her character with that, but nonetheless, we'll see where they're going to take her. Very fucked up direction to go, though. I was not expecting that. Now, my main problem with this episode is that it felt like the writing was just all over the place the entire episode. I mean, there was things that contradicted themselves. There was things that were retconning previous films. There were details that didn't quite make sense within the context of the episode. I mean, you have even small things like whenever they bring up Devin's boy or being Jake's boyfriend, and he's like, he's not my... And it's like, bro, you were just fucking saying last week that he was like your soulmate. He was the reason you stayed in Hackensack. And now you're like, no, we ain't quite there yet. Just for later on in the episode for him to be like, hey, you talking about my fucking boyfriend like that. I don't know. The whole relationship thing has been a little wonky for me the past couple of episodes. I'm all for the story that they're trying to tell, but a little bit of a weird way that they're telling it just through the dialogue. And I think I've figured out what my main issue has been with not being able to really buy into this. And I think, unfortunately, it's on the Devon character. I think his acting in those scenes specifically just doesn't quite land for me. He's fine in the other ones, but just whenever he doesn't feel like he's in love. He doesn't feel like he's in love with Jake. He barely even feels like he likes Jake. So I think that's where my issue has been. And that's part of the reason why I suspected that he was going to have some kind of an alternative plan for the first half of the season, because it just never really felt like he's there. You know, Jake does a pretty good job of getting there. Devon, not quite. So I think I figured out what my issue has been with all of that. Beyond that, I mean, they retcon yet again how Charles Lee Ray got shot in the original movie. I mean, there was just, the cops were chasing him at the beginning of that movie when it opened up. Then you had Curse that added this little extra detail that he was keeping Nika's mother hostage, tied to a table, and the cops were called because of that, and then he ran away from that situation and ended up in the toy store, and now they retcon it once again, and they say, hey, Tiffany called it in. Tiffany called Chris Sarandon. Why the fuck she would know Chris Sarandon's name and number and all of that, we didn't get any answers for that, but yeah, so it was a fuck you from Tiffany and got him killed. Okay, that doesn't make any sense with what happened in Curse, and that was just 2 movies ago, and it's the same writer and director, but nonetheless, okay, that's what happened now. Cool. You have this whole scenario where everybody comes into what Tiffany calls her inner sanctum, and they're unleashing their plan, and you've got Devon tied up in the corner, you got Junior joining the family, and then they get into this little spat out of nowhere, and Tiffany decapitates the Chucky doll and is like, I'm fucking done with you, I'm going off on my own. But she still continues his plan. She still goes to the movie theater. She still locks up all the dolls. She still tells the guy she's going to kill him if he doesn't take the dolls where she wants them to go. When she sees Andy drive off and give her the finger, she's screaming bloody murder like, no, my plan is foiled. I don't understand that. I don't quite get how one moment she hates Chucky, she wants to be done with Chucky, but she's still being kind of his lackey and doing all the work for him. And I don't understand that. To me, within one episode, that didn't quite make sense to me. So if you have an explanation for that, let me know down in the comments. That was the biggest thing in this episode where I'm like, huh? And despite it being the big carnage-filled sequence of this episode, and one of the more carnage-filled sequences in the entire season thus far, the whole massacre at the movie theater, he silently kills the guy from Cult of Chucky, and then as soon as panic ensues, he's crawling around army style and stabbing random people. And the way that they edit the scene doesn't quite make sense to me, because if he was just going around silently and picking people off, and then as the panic ensues, there's like 12 people that are sitting there dead, that would have made more sense. But the panic ensues, and then he's going around stabbing people as people are jumping up, screaming, running over each other, and it's like awful convenient that every single seat that you're stabbing is somebody that's just sitting there watching Frankenstein while everybody's freaking the fuck out. I mean, it didn't quite make sense to me. It was a big logic issue in that scene to where I'm like, I want to enjoy this, but it doesn't make sense. Another logic issue that I had, which again goes back to writing. Where the fuck is the rule with one Chucky can die, but the other ones take a while? Like, we had one Chucky that literally had his fucking head slowly cut off by Tiffany, was still completely alive, still completely fine, was talking and everything. Until that house blew up, he was alive and totally awake, totally sentient, no issues whatsoever being decapitated. And then you have other dolls later on in the episode that are stabbed in the heart, dies instantly. Choked, eyes shoot out, dies instantly. I need some consistency in that so that I know what the fuck the stakes are. Like, can Chucky die? Can he not die? Can we decide, please? And then we get to my biggest issue story-wise with the episode. For somebody who is a gigantic fan of this franchise and has really been enjoying how light they've been using a lot of the legacy characters and how slowly they've been integrating them into the story and letting this new cast stand on their own and let their story stand on its own without feeling like they need to have all these characters carry everything. I was disappointed with the amount of Andy and Kyle we got in this episode. The best part of this entire season to me was that little Pulp Fiction scene in, what was it, episode 6, where Andy and Kyle show up at that house and just fucking take that doll out like super agents. And it was just like, that was cool. That's what I want to see these characters do. And since then, we've only seen them on the road. We get to this episode, Andy, his entire scene is just kind of digging around this house, putting his arm in a bath and walking away. And then you have Kyle who shows up, and I have no idea if she's fucking dead or not. They didn't really say it definitively. They said fatalities, and then Andy never really addressed that she wasn't there, so I don't know if that was their way of confirming that Kyle died because of that bomb, or if she's still out there somewhere and just injured in a hospital. I really have no idea. Either way, it's a little weird for me, because if she died, we didn't really get any scene with Andy addressing that, and that should be a big scene here, like a big emotional moment for Andy, that his sister, the only other person in the world that is on this mission with him, that understands him and that knows the stakes of what's going on, is gone. Never get a moment with those two characters to have solace in that. And if she's still alive, why is she not there when Andy's taking the truck? And why does it not show her in a post-credit scene in a hospital or something? So I really have no idea what they were intending with that character. I guess we'll find out in season 2 if she's there or if she's not, but as a way to leave that, I'm like, she just kind of opened the door and then nothing else. Like, that character never really mattered. It just felt weird to me. And then for Andy, unfortunately, I just feel like they never really gave him much to do this season. Like, that got that one awesome sequence, and then now obviously he's going to be probably more a part of season 2, and maybe that's what they were saving a lot of it for, is to give him a lot of the meat in the season 2 storyline. But I was waiting for some epic showdown, some big moment between him and Chucky, and never really got that. And honestly, I don't even know if I'm really all that satisfied with where they decided to kind of cap off the storyline for the 3 kids. I mean, obviously, like I just said, we're going to get more of them, presumably, so it's not like this is the end of their story, but for their season-long arc, Jake's arc comes to a close when he strangles Chucky to death, and I guess it's him being strong enough to admit that he loved his father and that nobody's going to fuck with his boyfriend, and, you know, Chucky's out. Didn't really feel like a huge conclusion for his character for a season-long arc. Junior just dies. Okay. You've got Lexi, who now loves everybody and is just totally opposite from the person that she was. That was kind of the biggest misstep as a character that I've had all season long. That's not really an episode problem, just a season problem. Way too hard on the beginning of this season, making her unlikable, just to have her go full circle the other direction. Never quite bought into it. And then Devin, I don't really know if he really even had an arc this episode either. He was just kind of there. So I don't know. For a season finale, it didn't really have a whole lot of finality to it. That was kind of the main thing that I was kind of frustrated with. It just felt like we just ended for now. It felt like there was another episode. It felt like there was still something here. It didn't really feel like the story itself that we've spent 7 episodes before now building up to, this ultimate plan that Chucky has had. Why is he in this town? Why does he need somebody to kill? It kind of felt like it didn't all come to a fair conclusion just yet. Like, a lot of it's going to be left hanging until season 2, and I don't love when shows do that. I like when they wrap up everything for the most part that's going on with this season's storyline and leave one little tail or 2 little tail ends of storyline to go into the next season, which will have its own storyline. This kind of felt like the 3rd act kind of got cut in half a little bit, and we'll figure out what happens later on. There's even a whole in-joke where Chucky's talking to the audience like Tales from the Crypt, and is like, oh, what happened here? Well, word from our sponsors, credits. And it's like, come on, that's like trolling your audience at that point. So I was okay on the episode. I know I'm probably a lot more negative just because it was a lot of weird writing decisions to me that I wanted to make sure I addressed, but it was okay. I'm still kind of complicated on it. I need to let it sit for a day. I might even watch it again before we do the live tomorrow, but certainly was not as satisfied with the ending as I had hoped I would be, but wasn't terrible either. So it's going to color my rating for the entire show a little bit, unfortunately, but I am still very excited for a season 2. I'm glad we got a season 2, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this story and where a lot of these characters go in a season 2. I don't know if it's going to be a longer season. I don't know if they'll get more budget now that it's been such a success. So overall, I liked it, but some problems. So that's it, guys. That's my review, my first reactions to the season finale of season 1 of Chucky. What did you guys think? Did you really enjoy this season finale? Did it have some issues for you as well? Were you somewhere in the middle where you loved some things a lot, but other things just kind of confuse you? Where do you think things are going to be going for a season 2? And be sure to check us out tomorrow about 6 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to do our final Chucky live stream, talking about everything spoilers with this episode. Not that I wasn't spoiler free in this review anyway, but me and CP are going to get back together again and talk about this finale, as well as kind of go over the whole season probably, so don't miss that, guys. Thank you for watching. Like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you are a fan of Chucky. I'm going to be doing a review of the entire season now that I've seen everything on Friday, as well as doing a ranking of all 8 episodes on Saturday. So stick around for that, and I got a lot of backlog of Chucky content as well. If you want to check out my reviews or rankings on the films, I've ranked all his kills, I've ranked all his deaths, I have talked Chucky any way you can slice it. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on any future Chucky content. As always, guys, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.